Lee, a quick introduction from your good self. Why am I talking to you?
Hi everyone. So as Phil said, my name's Lee Welch. I am a personal trainer. I have a condition that is called spina bifida. I'm a full-time wheelchair user, and we're here to talk about the fitness industry.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, how did you get into it, Lee? What got you into the fitness instructing world?
Good question, Phil. So I started out I was training with Team GB in wheelchair basketball. I was kind of coming to a crossroads at that point towards the end of that. I was introduced to a course called Instructability at the time, and which was offering an opportunity for various people with different disabilities to get in qualifications within the fitness industry with a view to getting into work there. So that's how it all kind of came about, really.
So was it an ambition? Obviously, once you stopped playing basketball and doing all that sort of physical stuff, was it your ambition then to be a fitness instructor?
At the time, it was a consideration. Like I said, I was at a crossroads where to go with it. I always felt like I was probably going to stay within some sort of sporting sort of career, whether that be, coaching basketball or something like that. But when the opportunity came up to kind of get into the fitness industry, that then progressed into personal training, it kind of roller coaster from there, and it's been great, it's probably one of the best things I've ever done. So
fantastic. So I mean, when you were thinking about taking the course and becoming an instructor yourself, what kind of thoughts, what considerations did you have about how you go about that?
I think when you kind of start anything new, it's finding out if the adaptions are there. So obviously, like I said, wheelchair user myself, is it a role or a qualification that I'm going to be able to do, full time? If I'm looking at, a new career change, is being a fitness instructor first and foremost going to be something I'm going to be able to do? Looking at the access into certain like facilities, sports centres, gyms, anything really like that, lift access, ramp access, disabled changing as well. So all these kind of things that you have to think about when you're looking at a new career path. I think generally, not just necessarily fitness, but it's one of those it was those sort of areas really for me that I was trying to work on around really.
So, I mean, that's obviously there'd have been the ordinary, in quotes, ordinary things of becoming an instructor, the training that you have to go through. But in your case, like many other disabled people, particularly wheelchair users, the whole access thing was a big issue as well, wasn't it? So you added that. So you went to work at Hartham Leisure in Hertfordshire. Yeah. How did you find that? What kind of, did they have to do anything to help you with adaptions or anything like that?
Not really, no. To be honest, I kind of felt like I landed on my feet, when I started there. I was looking for, initially, on the course, I was looking for a placement. I had to do a placement alongside my training. So I was there for a certain amount of weeks, and then, sort of like to try and learn the role of a fitness instructor, basically. Done a lot of shadowing and stuff. So, but the fitness manager there at the time and the centre manager there at the time was so accommodating. They really were really enthusiastic about me coming on board with them. But really just, as I say, it was probably it just fitted, just fitted in nicely. Yeah. A really nice welcoming bunch of guys there in the gym team as well at the time. And yes, I'm still there now, So
something worked out, didn't it?
It really.
I mean, we know, you and I have been around, we know that it does rely a lot on the attitudes of the people that, they're prepared to put sort of the adaptions in place and so on. So, I mean, if you were giving some advice to someone starting out like you were those years ago, what would you tell them? What would you say to a disabled person that wants to get into the fitness industry?
I think first and foremost, you've got to find a course that you want to do. So, level 1s, level 2, that kind of lower, just sort of a nice baseline for you just to get into, and then you can get a feel for it, because that's the biggest thing. For the course itself, you need to get a feel for it, whether it's right for you. Secondly, the environment you work in. You've got to feel that you're comfortable, in that environment. There's a lot of sometimes going into the fitness industry, it can be like really intimidating, and you've got to feel, you've got to find an environment that works for you. As I say, I found that with Harton, and to be honest, I love it over there. I know I'm not over there as much these days, but I'm still doing a couple of shifts a week over there. But yeah, that's the biggest thing. You've got to feel comfortable with it. You've got to have good people around you, including in sort of like your training, really. Tutors, that see where you're coming from with like adaptions that you need, different approaches, in terms of doing the job itself. Obviously we're not going to be able, like wheelchair user, for example, I'm not going to be able to do the job that an able-bodied person, or someone who has no disabilities, they're going to be able to do it to their full potential. Whereas there are adaptations there that we need to make. So it's having the people there that understand that. That's the biggest thing. That's one of the biggest things.
I mean, obviously, we can see from your room that you're in currently there's all sorts of equipment around the place, and that's because you've set up your own business now, your own gym, haven't you? So you've clearly come, leaps and bounds. So when you think back over your time, as you know, Aspire has produced the guide now that encourages disabled people to consider a career in the leisure industry and so on. It wasn't around when you started, but it's around now. What kind of do you think that would be really helpful? Should disabled people get hold of this guide and really make good use of it, do you think?
I mean, the content in it's fantastic, first and foremost, because it gives you everything that, like it talks about the qualifications, it talks about the different levels of entry and what you can progress up to. So it doesn't necessarily have to stop in one place. You can advance it, you can go on and on and on. So it does give you a lot of information on that. And I think, to be honest, as I say, the detail that they've gone to is fantastic. They talk about funding for training, all these sort of elements that you wouldn't necessarily think about. There's all these different areas that, you need to really consider. So no, it's a very good guide, absolutely. And like you say, from when I started, this guy probably wasn't around, but I think from where we started, that group that I was with at the time, they've taken that information and collated it into this, I mean that absolutely right. So you guys, when you were setting out, in some ways were pilots, weren't you? So the guide has been produced based a lot on the experiences that people have had. Okay, so, well, what more is there to say? Disabled people that might be watching this should make sure they get hold of the guide, and no doubt, that will save them some of the grief that you went through. But you're clearly doing really well, Lee, and it's been a fantastic privilege to talk to you, and long may your exciting new business progress. So take good care of yourself. Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much.